Good afternoon and welcome to the Citizen FM News at noon. I am Lawrence Omoite. The court has dismissed PDP's suit challenging the alleged double nomination of Kashim Shettima. The Apex Court agrees with the lower courts that the PDP lacks the local standard to institute the case. Justice Adamu Jaru, who read the judgment, added that the PDP acted as meddlesome interloper and a busybody, as it is an internal affairs of the PDP APC. A sum of 2 million naira was awarded against the APC, even as the suit was dismissed for lacking in merit. The justices further held that the attitude of the appellant amount to misleading the court, describing the move as sad. Ahead of the May 29th inauguration of President-elect Bola Tinubu, the police have deployed personnel to protect the presidential villa, provide security at and around the Eagle Square in Abuja, and man all Nigerian borders, seaports and airports. Force Public Relations Officer Olumuyiwa Dejobe disclosed this on Thursday in a statement, saying operatives would equally be deployed to man the entry and exit points of the capital city and other critical government installations. Personnel for the inauguration were drawn from the Special Forces, namely the Police Mobile Force, Counter-Terrorism Unit, Special Protection Unit, Anti-Bomb Squad, the FIB Intelligence Response Team, and the Special Tactical Squad, among others. President-elect Bola Tinubu on Thursday pledged to address the security and power crisis, among other challenges confronting the country. Bola Tinubu, who was handed the transition report by President Muhammad Buhari, promised not to disappoint Nigerians. He said that shortly after his investiture with the country's highest national honor of the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic, alongside the Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima.
Shown courage and taken tall decisions, others avoided. I understand the meaning of the honor given to me today and the magnitude of the task that awaits. We must make headway as if charted the course. The people deserve no less. You said so.
The Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, says so far his office has successfully recovered over $1 billion for the country. He stated this when he appeared before an ad hoc committee of the House of Representatives, which is investigating the alleged missing $2.4 billion in revenue from 48 million barrels of crude oil in 2015. For a second time, the AGF appeared before the House ad hoc committee. He maintained his earlier position that he is unaware of the missing funds and respond to the request of the committee for the statement accounts of recoveries made since 2015.
The office of the Attorney General has succeeded in recovering over $1 billion for the Nigerian state over time. So I have no problem with the committee, but I have problem with any insinuation suggesting wrongdoing against my person or against the person of the Attorney General or indeed the Federal Ministry of Justice as far as this issue is concerned. The Accountant General and the Ministry of Finance are by tradition the custodians of the federal government accounts and the
The ad hoc committee, however, disagreed on the interpretation of the single accounts of the Federation as stated in the Constitution.
Here says that it does not talk of disbursement. It says the Federation shall maintain a special account to be called the Federation account, into which shall be paid all revenues collected by the government of the Federation.
The Joint Health Sector Unions has directed its members to embark on an indefinite strike beginning from Thursday. The National Vice President of Jehesu, Obinna Ogbonna, made this known at a press briefing in Abuja. He said the union had, in a letter dated 9th May, issued a 15-day ultimatum to the Nigerian government over an allegation of inconsistencies in the ongoing negotiations to adjust the consolidated health salary structure for health workers.
Same Federal Ministry of Health entered agreements with the NAD, that is the National Association of Resident Doctors, to again adjust COMES for a third time since January 2nd, 2014, and has proceeded to transmit the financial implications to the appropriate arms of the federal government for payment. For the records, it is actually the Federal Ministry of Health and the partners and its partners in NME that distorted the relativity in the COMES and the COMES scales.
The Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, Oji Ogbonnaya Oji, says Nigeria lost over 600 million barrels of crude oil between 2009 and 2020. He called on the Nigerian government to check this trend.
19.7 million barrels were lost, either stolen or not accounted for, amounting to $46.16 billion, which if you convert to naira in official exchange rate will give you 16.25 trillion naira that Nigeria lost by crude. There is no nation that I'm aware of that can survive with this kind of arrangement. And our country are going and borrowing, looking for money to fund key national infrastructure, roads, water, electricity.
The Minister of Education, Malam Ademo, has lauded the ministerial strategic plan as a working instrument and action plan during his 8 years in office. Malam Ademo disclosed this at a valedictory ceremony organized by the ministry to honor Iman, Minister of State for Education, Goodluck Opia, in Abuja.
The document that I decided to write, because I didn't know anything about education except superficially. So when Buhari decided to make me Minister of Education, there is somebody sitting right now is looking at me. After that meeting, a group of professors were called, professors of education. We talked and I told them what I wanted to achieve. Let them put it in writing for me, and they did. Then we had a document. That document went through several readings and several editions, editing and so on. By the time I brought it to this ministry, and today I must publicly thank Dr. Folashade Yemi Esham, because she was instrumental in adapting it. She was instrumental in making it a property of the Ministry of Education, and she was instrumental in leading some of you here.
Directors and chief executives from agencies under the ministry who graced the occasion commended the minister for their achievement in the sector in the past 8 years.
We shared ideas, we shared a lot of opinions together in the interest of our ministry and our country. I arrived here at a very critical time in the life of education in our country, in the middle of the ASU strike, and under the Honorable Minister, Mr. President, I learned a lot of lessons on negotiation.
And for some foreign stories now, the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Thursday urged the international community to stand with Africa, calling for the continent to be adequately represented in the international financial system. Africa's dynamism is unstoppable and its potential is breathtaking, but historic and economic injustice currently hampers its progress, the UN General Secretary said.
They are also reminded of the multiple challenges preventing Africa from reaching its full potential, including the COVID-19 pandemic and its devastating impact on African economies, climate change, unresolved conflicts, and a severe food crisis. compound all this, the war in Ukraine is creating a perfect storm for developing countries, especially in Africa. This crisis is resulting in soaring costs for food, energy, and fertilizer, with devastating consequences on nutrition and food systems, while making it even more difficult for the continent to mobilize the financial resources needed to invest in its people.
Ukraine shot down 10 missiles and over 20 drones launched by Russia in overnight attacks in the capital, Kyiv, the city of Dnipro and eastern region. Ukrainian officials explained this on Friday. Russia has intensified missiles and drone attacks on Ukraine this month, mainly attacking logistics and infrastructure facilities before an expected Ukrainian counter-offensive.
That a lot of people now are saying that the war that Putin started can only end in negotiation. And I say, well, that may very well be true. But before any negotiation, this war can only end, must end, shall end, will end with the victory of the Ukrainian people and the expulsion of Putin's armies and the end of his barbaric attempt to take Ukrainian territory.
And that's the Citizen FM News at noon. I am Lawrence Omoite.